The Mayo Experience.
Mayo Experience. Mayo Experience. Mayo Experience. Experience.
Welcome to the Pat Mayo Experience. It's here. 2019 Masters Picks Preview. Bets. One and done. Props. We'll have it all for you. Geoff Fienberg is in studio with me. Are you excited
It's
for the
always
Masters?
Masters season.
We usually have all these bets coming into the Masters. This year we don't.
Nothing.
Well,
One bet.
Let's talk about our cards straight off the hop. I bet Siwoo Kim like 2 months ago.
Well,
at
you'd have bet
100
him anyway.
Yeah, but I got him at 150 to 1.
Which is-
He's going to be significantly lower now.
That's how it works.
Ian Poulter, 80 to 1. I grabbed that like a month ago. I don't even think he's going to win anymore. You have Hideki.
Hideki, 40. I've seen it a bit shorter. His stat line is old, healthy Hideki. Except
can't putt.
the same as problem, the putting. It actually might have gotten worse than it was years ago, but he's resembling that player of the past that used to be in the mid-low 20s and always a hyped about Masters guy. So that's my one bet. I'm not oozing with confidence about it either because it's Hideki and there's going to have to be 7.5-foot par putts that are going to need to drop over the course of 4 days, and you're asking for it, but that's the bet I got. So unlike years past where we're just here and I'm like looking to make one more bet, I'm open to anything. I think I know what I want to do, but it would
We'll
take
talk it through.
Yeah, like I could go to the top. I could make a card. Part of me is tempted to make a much smaller card than I normally would and just drop a couple hammers.
Now,
'Cause it's time.
we know that even if you do drop the couple hammers and make the small card, by the time it actually starts, you're going to have the back end padded. Because I got some back end guys I'm very excited about. But before we get into all that, we have Tim Andercursed coming up a little bit later on to find out who's Andercursed or who he's picking to win because he's been very good at these major events. Plus, he's going to weigh in on some crazy master stuff like he does. But I have some giveaways. So here's what you people need to know out there. First of all, the Pat Mayo Experience DraftKings Open is $10 to play this week for the Masters. There are 10,000 spots, $100,000 in guaranteed money. No rake from DraftKings. And we need to fill this thing because if we fill it pretty good here for the Masters, we'll get an even bigger one for the PGA Championship, an even bigger one for the US Open. We have to make sure it fills. The link is in the description or the comment section of this video or podcast. You can enter up to 3 times. First prize like $7,500. Very flat payout structure, besides the Millionaire Maker, which everyone should go play, obviously, because you want to win $1 million. This is the best tournament on DraftKings. It's affordable, and there's no one who's going to max enter 150 entries to knock you out. Your one lineup is just as good as the 3. I mean, I guess that's 1/3 as good, because you could enter 3, but the one lineup isn't at a huge disadvantage in the Pat Mayo Experience Listeners League Open. So please go join that. The link is in the description and comment section of the video and podcast. Now, the giveaways. I have over $1,000 to give away here.
Let's go.
In DraftKings money. And there's a bunch of ways that you can get in. And if people haven't checked out the Millionaire Maker Pick Show, that's already up on the feed. What's wrong with you? Go like that, download that. You can find all the giveaways from that one. The show that I did with Wiley about the state of golf, that's all up there right now. But here's how you enter. Because I got a $555 ticket to the giant 800,000 guarantee contest. I have 2 $150 tickets and a bunch of Millionaire Maker giveaways to have, the $20 entry fee. So like the episode, leave your DraftKings handle in the comment section. I want to know, of all the top end players, who does the worst at the 2019 Masters? That's where I'm looking at right here. I've already asked for winners and things like that. I want to know who people want to fade at the very top end. Which one of the top 20 players do you think does the worst? That way, you're in a draw. Other ways to get in the draw. Go to my Instagram page, follow the account, heart one of the pitchers, and one of the Masters pitchers at least. Go underneath of it and leave your DraftKings handle. Boom, you're in a draw for that too. Audio podcast-wise, iTunes, Stitcher, Spotify. Leave a 5-star review, DraftKings handle. Something nice about the show, you're in a draw. And you can win the top prize. The more the people do that, the more chances they have to enter. It's like mass multi-entering, the 150 lineups in the Millionaire Maker. The more of these giveaways that you get into, the more chances you have to win. You're on Twitter, you're on Facebook. Share around the show. No quote tweeting, a retweet, and then a reply with your DraftKings handle. Boom. You're in the draw for that too. I'll be announcing the winners on Tuesday's show that I'm doing with Drewby and the Gup as we re-up on our DraftKings picks, talk about the weather, talk about the ownership. I'll have everything announced for there. And the big one too, if you want a free membership to Fantasy National for 1 year. Go to @FantasyNational on Twitter. Follow the account. Retweet the pinned tweet that is up there now. Spread the word about Fantasy National. You should just become a member anyway. Am I right about that?
Absolutely.
Absolutely. We're already up to like over $700,000 in DraftKings winnings already this season. We haven't got to the Millionaire Maker season yet, so I'm looking very much forward to that. Retweet that pinned tweet that is up there now after you follow the account, and just reply with the hashtag FNMasters, and you are in a draw to get that. I'll announce that winner on Tuesday's show. And then I'll have even more giveaways as the week goes along. I just want to get people pumped for the Masters. I want people to get their money in as good as possible. I think the best way to do that is through Fantasy National. That's me.
And I think the best way to do it on DraftKings through the PME Open.
So there we go. So
I've already reserved my entries. I haven't started a build yet.
I haven't started a build yet either.
That takes like... I haven't even tinkered a build, like made a fake build, a skeleton build.
Do you care about ownership or anything like that for this sort of contest? Because I think it's important at the Masters because the field is so small.
Yeah, absolutely. I'll always somewhat care about ownership and try to go in different directions.
At least somewhere.
You
don't need to go all six spots.
I'm no
with crazy
DK
people.
savant, but last year, I'm not even kidding. Like Patrick Reed was a forgotten soul. Actually, one of my better DK runs was the Masters last year. And I don't go on many. I don't have many good DraftKings weeks. I'm always envious of those lineups because the winning lineups are ones I would never build, ever.
Well, here's the thing. I feel like I'm a golfer who's trending towards something good because 2 weeks ago at Corrales, I was leading the $44 after 2 days. I was up 5 digits, and then, I ended up winning like $200 by the end of the week. This week at Valero, I was winning the $5. I was up $100,000, like well into the second day.
You're like the Golf Channel DraftKings.
I am. I'm like the Charlie Hoffman. Oh, that's the other bet that I have into. I released that on Twitter over the weekend.
Oh, yeah.
First round leader. I saw a little life in Charlie.
Yeah.
I was like, I'm getting in now. I bet him at 100-1 with the top 5 each way, and he's now 50-1 as first round leader.
Yeah, I'm not even kidding. I saw someone make a great joke on like Twitter. It's like hard, like Charlie to win the Masters should be like 150-1, but first round leader, he may as well have Tiger's odds because like that's what he does first round.
So let's talk about the course a little bit before we get to Cust and what his picks are. Augusta National. I think we're all pretty familiar with Augusta National by this time. I hear they play it most years, maybe since 1935. I don't know. It's a par 72. There's $11 million in the purse, 7,435 yards. You have your full complement of par 5s. Patrick Reed is the defending champion. Of course, we know about all the undulations. We know about how fast these greens are. There's no rough all over the course. There's trees and there's pine straw, but frankly, you can get away with being kind of a crappy driver in terms of accuracy and still gain strokes off the tee. And that's what we saw from Patrick Reed last year. He was lights out on the greens and he was lights out off the tee, which is so atypical for Patrick Reed. It's kind of nuts.
He was hitting that like helicopter spinner that if you didn't get to watch a lot through Thursday and Friday, by Saturday where he was still playing great, every tee shot you hit, you probably thought this ball's going to be in trouble just by the way he was finishing his swing because it was so unorthodox for him. Specifically, like he had like a Bubba finish, but everything was just getting out there and running.
Most weeks when I weight my model, if you become a member at fantasynational.com right now, you can just make your own custom model and weight however you want. But we don't have a bunch of strokes gain metrics from the Masters over the years. So it's a lot of it's a feel play. A lot of it is based even off course history, which I did factor in. If you go to DK Playbook or even my Facebook page, facebook.com/thepme, which is where my final betting card is going to appear on Tuesday. And I'll talk about it during the chat at 1 p.m. Eastern time that I do with Reed Fowler on Wednesday, where people can ask their questions. First round leaders, top Euro, that type of thing. But strokes gained off the tee is weighted a lot closer to strokes gained approach for me this week because I do think the driving distance and off the tee play really goes a long way here. And even when we look back at the winners, you have Reed, you have Sergio, you have Adam Scott. And I mean, at the time, Jordan Spieth was a good putter, but generally not so much. Danny Willett is a god-awful putter. Great putters don't necessarily win at Augusta. Phil and Tiger are excellent on the green. Zach Johnson has been a good putter in the past, but experience on these greens really does matter a lot. A lot of talk is going to be made. Fuzzy Zoeller was the last first-time player to have ever won since the very first Masters. That was in 1979. And I don't think it's because guys can't hit the shots or the moment becomes too much. It's understanding these putting surfaces, where the break is, where to play it off the hill. There's a reason that Fred Couples continues to like make the cut every single year because he can hit like a low 3-iron stinger into that weird hill on 10 and know exactly where it's going to roll off to and get onto the green. That really does matter at Augusta. And people can say that course history doesn't matter, and generally they're correct. But no, and maybe it's a small field, the same people play it every year, but the correlation between past success and future success at Augusta is more prevalent at this course than any other on tour by a pretty substantial margin. It's that and Riviera. Riviera is actually a course I would look to as a corollary course. We see a lot of crossover winners, very similar shot shape off the tee. That's why you see a lot of lefties win both at Augusta and Riviera. And I'd even throw Quail Hollow into that mix too, as another course where people have had a lot of crossover success. So that's what I'm looking at.
It all makes total sense. And yet with some of the lengthening of some holes, driving accuracy, so not even accuracy so much, but distance seems to be a bigger premium here. If those big hitters are driving to their norms, they're changing a lot of holes. They're playing a lot of different holes. They're able to get in the proper landing zones with those little flip clubs.
Yeah, I just think approaches from like 150 to 200 are really what you want to look at. The problem with looking at proximity stats like that is there's a lot of elevation on this course, and not all 160-yard approach shots are created equally. And different guys are going to be in different buckets depending on their length off the tee, or maybe they want to lay up a little bit because they're better off from 170. And that part of the strategy does come into it a little bit as well. So I like all that stuff.
And unless you're, you drive it left into the creeks or something, you're really going to be able to have something to get to the greens.
Well, the big thing here is the weather watch. And I think this is important every single year. It can be somewhat overrated, but we've seen Masters kind of shoot up, be like, what the hell happened here? Like, yeah, we were on Willett, but we got lucky with the conditions.
We got lucky with
a lot of things, but the conditions were bad, and that is the type of scenario where Danny Willett can win the Masters, where it's super windy, it's kind of wet, and people aren't firing minus 14. The winning score is going to be like -5 or -3. Like the year Zach Johnson won at +1. Like those types of players, the shorter hitting players, the Matthew Fitzpatricks of the world, that type of guy, great around the green, good on the greens, and isn't going to be inhibited by a lack of distance off the tee because just hitting it straight becomes so important to avoid those big numbers. That is in play because even where we're sitting here right now, looking at the weather report, it looks like there could be a bit of wind. It looks like there could be a bit of rain. Nothing crazy, and it seems to be subsiding each day we get closer. But I do think that looking at that and finalizing your card later in the week is probably the smarter move. Do you think that we have the ability to do that, or just we two like pouncing? Because if people watch this on a Sunday, for example, odds are going to be better on a Monday. I'm waiting to make like my real bets on the Monday because you're going to see slide and drift on a lot of players except for like 2. And if you're in the each way market, the each way market will expand. So instead of playing like a top 5 each way, you might get like a top 8 each way on someone. And I think that's vastly important. Plus later in the week, you know what I'm going to have?
The cut parlays.
The cut parlay. We're doing the live cut sweat show. You can tune in with us live on Friday afternoon while we watch and sweat out the cut. And last year I lost $3,000 on a Jason Duffner going in the water on 15.
I'm with you. For starters, as you mentioned, normally I have a card, so I'm not like able to really focus on the weather. My card is my card. My draw is my draw coming into these big events. But this year I'm sort of naked to a card, so I'm able to play that weather and sort of be patient at this point. If there's a number that you really like, I guess play it.
That's what I did with Siwoo. But I like that number. I felt like I bet it at when he was contending at Genesis. Yeah, I was like, this number's going to drop. I might as well bet it now.
But I do believe, like you said, that there will be a bit of a fluctuation in the majority of the numbers. Yes, a couple guys will steam downwards. If a Siwoo or guys that are playing well this week, or Ricky shoots like has an amazing Sunday, or whatever, guys will drop. But the majority of them really have no reason to, if you look at their play of late. And yeah, a couple guys might get steamed from like a tout market. They'll fall. But I'm with you, Pat. I think the books, especially with the expanding revolution of betting, are going to be ultra competitive with some of these numbers. Because this board that we're about to break down shortly, I've never seen a Masters like this, where so many guys are in great form. And I think the books want to dare us. Go ahead, luck sack. Go pick the winner.
So
try us. Go pick the winner, pal.
A lot of it too is like we're getting, and we'll talk about this once we really dig into the field after we talk to Cust a little bit. But Rory being such a substantial favorite, like we haven't seen a Masters favorite this short in a while.
Well, Dustin's fall.
And Dustin's fall, and then that.
What was he that night?
I think he was 9-1. But
Rory was playing better than Rory is.
Yeah, I don't know about that. Rory's 6.5 to 1, and he has the history here too, plus the breakthrough, plus the narrative that goes along with Rory. But then you have Tiger at the top here too at 14. Like Tiger shouldn't be 14 to 1; he should be like 30 to 1. But people are going to bet him at 14 to 1 regardless. So having both those guys at the top is giving us a break on some of these numbers. But like even when we look at like the Brysons and the Fleetwoods and hell, even the Fowlers and the Rahms and potentially Justin Thomases of the world, the number that they're at right now, I bet you we get a better number Tuesday evening.
Yes.
Even if it's by 2 points.
Yeah, no, Fowler might be the only one, but me and you have talked about it. Like there's a couple guys I'm daring them to go higher on. I'm daring them to go to, to push a few, but you're absolutely right. What's Bryson done in the last month for him to drop from 25?
Bryson's one that I'm kind of waiting on. I know a lot.
Yeah, I want to see 30 or above.
A lot of people in the like golf Twitter community hammered Bryson at 80 to 1.
Missed it.
I missed it too. I feel like such a dummy because I'll probably end up 30 to 1.
I've said a few times. I feel I was just a stubborn SOB because I was
and we had hit him at 80. Yeah. We were like, well, we've won all our Bryson money. Yeah, this is great.
And I was so stubborn in the sense that like I like to say things and then be beholden to them like a stubborn idiot. And I said a couple years ago, Bryson was going to win the 2020 Masters. Like that's just a thing. He's going to get his practice rounds with Tiger. He's going to bring his compass out on practice rounds. He's going to do his calculations. He's going to get that more comfortable. And when he figures it out, everybody's screwed. So I slept on that. Other than that, I don't really feel sad about missing anything. And even if it gets to 30, that's a number I'm more than comfortable with maybe even getting in on next week.
So because of our association with DraftKings, which is really nice, we get some info passed along from DK Sportsbook. I have the top 10 Masters bets by number of tickets so far for outright winner as of right now. Who do you think number 1 is?
Well, Tiger and Ricky.
Tiger is 1, Ricky is 4. There's 2 guys in between them. Most popular bets.
Rory
is 7th. People don't want to walk in and bet the favorite at plus 700 or plus 600.
Dustin's
not on the list.
Good.
Tommy Fleetwood is number 2. Jordan Spieth is number 3.
Get out of town.
Tony Finau is number 4. Bryson, number 6. Rory, Justin Rose, Brooks Koepka, Francesco Molinari.
I'm not totally surprised about like the Jordan thing. Because yes, there's like the narrative in the little like bubble that we're in. This is still the Masters and there's still a lot of people that are making bets. Jordan Spieth's one of the 6 golfers that they know. He's had great historic success. They're happy to still bet him here. They're not living and dying with the roller coasters that he's on, like that a lot of people who probably watch this are.
I do want to throw out that Joe Petta actually released a book. You can buy it on Amazon right now. It's called a 2019 Masters Preview. Excellent writer, really dug in and tried to come up with strokes gained metrics from last year's Masters in particular. And I don't want to give too much away because you have to pay for it, but there are a few interesting tidbits that I did find from it. That's where I found that a lot of these approaches come from like 160 to 200, just based on his hole-by-hole breakdowns. I thought that was really cool. There's each of those in there if you really want to dig in. But Bryson last year lost almost 6 strokes putting on the green and gained almost 5 off the tee. So if he just putts like neutral, he's very much in the mix. Also, Kevin Kisner gained 8 strokes putting, lost 8 strokes on approach and around the green. So don't expect that to happen again, is all I'll say about Kevin Kisner. But you want to talk to Cuss first?
Let's do it.
All right. So Cuss has been running really hot.
Magic.
And it's kind of crazy to think about, but we have to get his picks and his insights. So let me welcome to the show. It is the man, the myth. I wouldn't say legend. That's probably pushing it. More of a wacko. But it is Tim Undercust.
Tim Undercust.
That is not my name.
Yeah, but we need to know who you're picking because this can go one of 2 ways. Historically, you've been very cursed at the Masters. Some would even say that the beginning of the Andercurse happened when you cursed poor Jordan Spieth into the water. And then again, into the water after you claimed it was over for him. And then all of a sudden the Jeff and I have all the monies because we have the 150 to 1 Danny Willett bet, and we thank you for that. But recently with these WGCs, the Players Championship, you've been picking winners.
It's a new man.
Not winning any money off of it, mind you. So you really, if you want to be able to pick the winner here, Tim, you have to make sure not to wager a cent on it so you get no reward for anything that you've picked. But I'm very curious, where are you leaning for the Masters?
So first, thank you for most of what you've said. I've been a big game hunter this year. Part of the reason, I don't know if I think I might have told you this. I don't know if I told anybody else this. I have a personal goal this year of winning the $1 Million Maker in DraftKings during the majors, and hopefully the Masters would be the one I win. This is a goal that I have.
Are you?
Because again,
Here's the
a
thing.
goal.
A very attainable goal. Are you even going to enter a lineup?
absolutely.
How many?
I have been
One?
One. I actually have an ethical belief that you should only ever put in one. I don't like the putting in the 5, the 6, the 9, the 10. I think that zaps all the joy out of it.
But
It's
your goal is to win one of 4 milli makers with one lineup per roll.
well, single
That's
bullets,
like
as I
a year
understand,
goal.
do it all
That's-
the time.
That's like as attainable as like I'll just like speak for myself, like resolutions, things for the year, like drop 25 pounds, be like, I don't know, just do this, that, whatever. Like that's like this is a realistic, attainable goal you strive to achieve.
I think that in the last year or so, my golf prognostication has become.
You didn't even know
infinitely
who
better.
Keith Mitchell was.
Well, now I do.
Like last week when he didn't know who
Okay.
Lucas Beauregard was when he beat Tiger.
I want to back this up because he does deserve, for all like the flack we give him, he's been very good this year. He adopted a simple strategy, like picking good players. That being said, it's easier said than done. It's a strategy that, we preach, I preach. I'm not even able to hold to myself, but he's winning. He's winning the big events, as you mentioned. But no wonder he still plays those cherry scratchers.
Yeah. This is why he has a scratch ticket addiction, because he's setting it out that he's going to win the Millionaire Maker with one lineup. And listen, you can win the Millionaire Maker with one lineup. To think that you're going to do it, a whole different story.
Didn't say I was going to. I said it's my goal to do it.
So what happens
I'm
when you
gonna do
don't
that.
achieve your goal? What happens to you then?
Well, then I'll load up for the PGA Championship, and I have a really strong feeling about the PGA. More
By
than I do
load
the-
up, you mean like one lineup?
Yeah.
Just
How is that any different than playing the one lineup at the Masters?
One lineup is all I'll ever play. I feel strongly about that. I don't like the idea of playing 15 or 20.
Tim's basically dead money in the Millionaire Maker. This is fantastic. This is why you play the Millionaire Maker, because you have the $100,000, you have the $1 million first prize, and you have Tim out here being like, "Well, I mean, I don't need to play. I can play more lineups, but I'm not going to play more lineups."
And you play like more than that, those like scratcher lotteries. Like you play the actual like Mega Millions and things, right?
No.
I basically never play those scratchers. I do once in a blue moon.
This is a big 180 from what you were talking about at the end of football season, when every
I
day
was
you were
told-
going to the
I was
corner
told-
store to get your scratchies.
I went through a stretch where I played a few of them in a row because I kept winning because I am an incredibly lucky person and I've been winning on these.
Okay.
But no, I haven't had one in a while. But anyway, just my golf predictions have been pretty good this year. I'm feeling like I'm getting better and better. My powers are growing strong. It's like, when I left you, I was but the learner. Now I've become the master.
So here's how Tim is shaped up. He has 2 winners so far, and he had Matt Kuchar at the match play, yet he is down money for the season betting on golf.
Well, that's
But
because
I'm
he
in
made a
like-
hole. That's because he made a hole in one bet with
me.
you.
But on the bright side, I'm 19th as of this current moment in the one and done competition, and I feel like my best picks are still ahead of me.
And even when he was dead in the water last week at the Valero, Fino makes a great rally on Friday to get, just
You get some money
putting
for
water in his bucket.
Yeah, it's not. I mean, there's no difference between like a T35.
Sure,
and a Miss
but,
Cup,
like,
to be
still-
perfectly honest with you.
Oh, but there is actually at the top level.
There
because the
actually isn't,
distinction
because
is
if you
There
make
actually is a
35,000 at the top level, you're losing ground.
That's fair.
Yeah, but the
It's still
difference
water
between-
in the
There's
bucket.
there's no difference, Tim. We're into
Actually, there's a
April.
big difference.
Yeah, you go through the end of August. I don't feel like
As
you
someone
realize
who
this.
actually has been towards the top of this leaderboard, unlike you, I believe I can actually speak to
Tim's
this.
the Baltimore Orioles. They're supposed to be the worst team in baseball. It's like 5-1. And,
Yeah.
and
No,
we'll
I'm
see.
Leicester City. That's who I am. The world didn't believe it, but I'm Leicester City, and I'm going to win that championship.
Anyway, he is leading
I
our
like
one
that
and done
analogy.
between the 3 of us right now, except he didn't actually make the wager on it, so he's not actually in it with us, which
Do you know
is
what's funny?
unfortunate for
He
him.
would have made it. He would have entered with us had Rom won Career Builder, or something early.
Yeah, but then he didn't.
Yeah, he didn't, and then Tim bailed, and then he actually went on to win his.
So he's going to have all
events.
these winning picks for the season, yet he's going to end up making $0. In fact, he may even lose money.
But it's
which
a
is
big,
impressive stuff.
it's a big event, and he's been crushing them.
So let's hear
there
it.
are
Who-
people that actually
Want
want
to
it.
hear the picks? Let's hear the picks, Tim.
My one and done is Brooks Koepka. He's the best player
Big
in
game
the world.
hunter, just like yourself.
Yes, so I guess we're well matched in that sense. Koepka at the biggest tournaments is the best player in the world. He's won 2 of the last 3 major championships. He's not much more can be said about him other than he's amazing. I don't think he's going to be super popular this week. I think you should take him. I think the fact that his odds, for example, are shorter than, I don't know, Ricky Fowler, who's never won anything important, or John Rahm, who's never won anything important, is an insult, and therefore there's value on him. But it's the Masters, and I make 3 picks. So Brooks Koepka is my first pick. My second pick is Matt Kuchar, playing great golf. I just think this is a good week for him. And then I will make a third pick, which is a little deeper, but I actually think that he's incredibly live to win this. And I hesitate to even say it because I know what you're going to say. I think Lucas Bjerregaard has a real chance to win this.
Oh, well, you just heard of him for the first time 2 weeks ago, and now he's one of your Masters picks, huh?
So the fact that I don't know about somebody has absolutely zero effect on their capacity to win.
No, but it just goes against your
So you've come
Whatever.
on this show a few times over the course of the last year, and even at some points during the year, even as recently as the players, talking about how course history is the only thing that you really care about, right?
I have said that I think course history is king, yes.
So,
But
so you've picked one guy who's never played Augusta before, so that's
Correct.
tough. So what's different about Lucas Bjerregaard, other than the fact that you just heard of him and he's never played before?
playing great golf.
He's not really playing great golf, I hate to break it to you.
If you get to the semifinals of the Match Play Championship 2 weeks before the Masters and you're a top 50 player in the world, yeah, you're actually playing pretty good golf. There's no other way to cut that.
Did not play the greatest at Valero, coming almost dead last in the field.
He played like 17 rounds of golf or whatever at the Match Play. You don't expect somebody to be great back-to-back weeks.
Hey,
did he win the third place match? Not that I even
No, I
care.
don't
No,
believe
he did. He came fourth. But
He still got more money than like his
You wouldn't
European
know
wins.
because they didn't have it on
Sure,
television.
but it didn't matter to Matt Kuchar. Matt Kuchar performed very admirably at Valero.
Yeah,
that's
Kuchar's a better player. And I
Whatever.
picked him as one of my 3 picks.
I actually agree with a lot of Tim's sentiments, especially with his first 2 picks.
Well, Kuchar's shaping up to be the highest owned guy in the millionaire maker by far.
And Brooks, it is a little wild that he doesn't have, certain book respect. Here we are before the biggest tournament. And there are a couple players who I do love that Tim did mention in Rahm and Ricky. Last year, a lot of people before the injury, if we did a show, like projecting majors, people were excited because he's had 3 years here, at 30, 20, 11th. Nice little, run of course history.
And as we remember, he didn't compete in the Masters last year because he was injured.
That's right.
Missed it entirely. So that is a trending upward into like this being a possible top 5. Arguably pound for pound of the elite players, probably offers the best, dollar value there. Even at 25 to 1, even the guys he's tied with, he's got the majors. They do not. He doesn't have like blow you away course history, but he's got course history to make you feel very comfortable making the wager. And he's probably on my short list as I enter this discussion with only 1 wager. So I got money to burn.
Does it worry you that since that loss to Keith Mitchell at Honda, he's missed a cut come 56 and then just got wiped out at the Match Play? Because he lost like 30 pounds trying to get real ripped and real
He's going to be like naked on the
he's going to be in the ESPN body issue, and he wanted to make sure he had an 8-pack for it.
Yeah, no, I don't.
Here's what else I like about Brooks. And because we haven't talked about him, you guys will, of course. I think Tiger is going to be very competitive in this thing. He's going to be in the top 5. He's my first round leader bet. If I had to make one, it would be Woods. I think he's going to play great at this thing. And he went toe-to-toe with Woods at the PGA and was completely unrattled. And you've seen him in interviews. It's like, I don't care. I didn't get worried. I knew people were cheering for him, and it didn't matter. And he prevailed. Brooks cannot be rattled. Doesn't matter how loud the roars get for anybody, because Brooks doesn't have a big natural cheering section. There will be no big group of people yelling and hooting and hollering if Brooks Koepka goes on a run. He will have to fend off, I think, the big runs from the Fowlers and the Woods or the Mickelsons or whomever has the big cheering section. Spieth to some small degree. So I think that Brooks mentally is the perfect player for Augusta because there's no crowd for him to feed off of. He just can shrug his shoulders very laconically and get by. So I just think he's perfectly made for a course like this.
God hope that the media is going to go listen to him speak early in the week.
But then he'll get triggered, and then he'll win.
Yeah, but then he gets like super triggered, and then everyone sees a quote of how motivated he is, and then people use that as like a reason to bet him because like at this moment now, when you don't know how many people are going to listen to him speak, everybody's. My point being is everybody really wants to win the Masters.
I'm actually impressed with your pick, Tim. I think that's a good pick.
I think in terms of I think it's a good pick, and in terms of like pound for pound betting tipping,
That's what I'm talking about. Like
I think
25
it's
to
a
1 for Brooks is a
very
good number.
strong pick. And if there's ever a year to maybe join Tim in a big event,
I will not be picking Brooks Koepka.
because of Tim.
Well, I mean, I wasn't going to pick him anyway, but sure,
He wasn't even
because
on
of
like
Tim.
a short list of guys that you were like pondering.
No, because I have my pick to win. I got to figure out how I want to structure my betting card around
I
that.
know. I'm kind of in. We could be in a similar spot, but all options are available because, like I joked, me and you usually come into doing these shows with like a stack of bets, and we only have like one or two outsiders that we're still looking to bet.
Yeah, we'll get to those in a second. Tim, any other additional thoughts about the Masters this year? Are you going to bet that there's no hole-in-one for the 10th consecutive year and lose?
I really think there won't be a hole-in-one this year. The last couple of years, it was sort of fluky. And it's not that there were holes-in-ones those happened, but the way the holes-in-one went down at the last couple of Masters, I just don't see it happening. It's very, very difficult to get a hole-in-one. I do not see it happening at 60. I mean, the only thing, listen, it's all about fading 16 on Sunday. That bet is a free ride until Sunday. And if that's where you have to sweat it out, I think I'm fine with that. I don't know what the odds will be, but the bet is there. You should take it.
It'll be
It's
the same as it almost is
probably
every
yeah,
tournament.
although it
The
shouldn't
field
be.
is shorter, right? You have less guys, and there's a handful that.
fewer guys, and some guys are terrible,
Yeah.
like Ian Woosnam, who can barely get the
Okay.
ball off the tee.
Yeah, this bet is far more credible here than say at the Players, where it's like one of the largest prestigious fields.
Sure, I mean, it's not one of the largest.
But
ones.
I would argue
it's a more prestige field
argue-
from top to bottom, but it's just we see hole-in-ones at 16 every year on Sunday.
someone-
It's set up for someone to get a hole-in-one.
someone should almost fade Tim and play like the over 1.5 hole-in-ones.
Well, Mike Leone was the biggest benefactor of this of all time because Tim took to Twitter to brag that there had been no hole-in-ones yet, and then Kuchar made a hole-in-one on Sunday, vaulting Leone into second into the Millionaire Maker, and he won $100,000.
Awesome.
Well, I should hope that
He played more than one lineup that year, though.
I would accept the second place in the Millie Maker, but that would still be somewhat a disappointment for me because I want to win.
Are you able to? Tim is probably unable to really enjoy this week because there are probably so many things that trigger him on many
Yeah, but
aspects.
how is that different than his like day to day?
Because it's the
Well, someone's gonna wear a
Masters, so the
baseball cap backwards
triggering
like a fool.
the triggering is higher because the sense of importance, to the grounds. Tim doesn't like.
Well, Tim was probably pretty triggered that they had a women's amateur event there. Women can't be on that course.
No,
That's
I thought
outrageous.
Thought it was a really good idea.
Nah,
I'm
you're
glad
just saying that because you're on this show right now.
No, I said it to other people. It's really good that they did this. I think that's smart.
Yeah, Tim's
Augusta
trying to put some
National
PC
Market.
spin out there. He doesn't think that women should be at Augusta.
And
That's
I think
outrageous.
that
that's not how
they
it was in 1935, Jeff.
And I'm glad they did it with NBC, and I hope NBC gets this thing next year because, I don't think CBS does a good job at the Masters, to be frank with you.
Why don't you think CBS does a good job?
I think that their coverage of it is very poor. You know what? I can only watch the opening tee shot so many times over 4 days before I don't need to see it anymore. I can only hear them not talk about the dyed water so many times. I prefer honest. I don't know. I just find CBS it's the most timid broadcast they do because the Masters keeps them on a 1-year contract every single year. Like they're afraid to make a mistake, and I find the analysis is less interesting. I find people are tenser. I just don't think I think it's their worst broadcast of the year by far. Compare this to next month when they have the PGA, it'll be infinitely better.
Well,
Gary McCord, for example, can't come, and Gary McCord's a really good analyst. He's not allowed on the grounds. I just don't like the way CBS has done this.
Do you know what this all kind of translates into? Is that Tim is a big Johnny Miller fan, and he really hates Sir Nick Faldo, and Nick Faldo is on this broadcast, and he won't like it because he'll want Justin Rose to win. That's what this all boils down to.
Well, he will be openly rooting for whatever Englishman is towards the top of the board. That is true. He doesn't have that cheese whiz can to take sips out of the way Johnny did, but
I don't know. That seems like such a.
I actually find the Masters and the U.S. Open, the Fox broadcast for the U.S. Open is really good because they really give us a lot of angles to see everything from. You can kind of pick and choose what you want to see. Like the amount of coverage is really nice. But I don't even know if it's CBS. I guess it is CBS who's doing it, but like the Masters.org coverage is fucking fantastic.
And we are very fortunate actually in Canada.
They play it on TV, but everyone in the States can just go to masters.org and see what we see.
Sure, but we're getting it like on an actual cable feed and can get multiple.
I mean, I'm unlike Tim and maybe even you.
No, I'm smart set up.
Most people can figure out how to get the computer onto their TV. They don't have to go to, quote, the Roku store to figure stuff out.
Agreed. I'm just saying, there's a lot of things we're on the short end of the stick here on the broadcast-wise in Canada, but I think the Masters, we actually come up...
the Masters is a challenge because the
well.
acoustics there are so loud. And so when you hear that roar... you know that something huge is, and sometimes it's like out of CBS's control. The year that Louis made the double eagle, you heard the roar a minute or so before it happened. So when they showed the shot, I guess it was drama whether it fell or it didn't fall, but you knew an amazing shot was going to come. Just because the way the sound.
Slow
but that's also no different than any other week on tour.
Oh no, Augusta's about 50 times louder than any.
Sure, but you still hear it all the time, and it's no
Not
real.
all the time.
It's also no real
wrong.
surprise when it's like, let's cut to not Phil, Tiger, or one of the top 3 players. Yeah, they're making the shot.
I actually really would disagree with it being loud, like exponentially louder than other courses.
Everything's so
other than
close
the rider.
together. Yeah, I do find it is incredibly loud, but I mean, some of that could be fake noise too. You got some fake news, you got some fake noise. CBS is not above pumping in some Masters sounds into the background of the broadcast.
I think they do a good job. Tim's not wrong. Like, you're not getting like a Ric Flair intro like we get at the PGA Championship, and there's no Turner shtick.
I like the Turner shtick.
Fine, but it's a far more proper broadcast, and it is what it is. I mean, even the year Willett won, I don't think we saw him till.
You didn't see him until Spieth started rinsing everything.
And it is funny. There are people that will track it, and like you can almost see at the end of each day, like how many shots of each player, got shown.
Well, your Charles Schwartzel one, you didn't see his shots until like 14.
No, that's not true because he chipped in on 2. I think it was 2 or 3.
Fine.
And everyone was in the mix that year, though. Was the whole thing? Like there was
why
like
you
6
barely
guys.
saw Charles.
No, we saw a ton of Charles that year.
No, you didn't. You saw
we did. I mean, I have a memory and I can remember things you just don't remember.
Because there were like 8 guys. It's like the resident Masters expert here. Like,
oh yeah,
they're like
the resident Masters expert. I go off course history and now I'm picking guys.
I
who've
also
never
want
played
to
here.
say, go Tim as the expert.
No, just when I say I like majors expert, like I catalog these things. So I watch these things meticulously close. We saw, because there were like 9 guys in competition, you only saw a few shots from Schwartz.
Yeah, Wikipedia also catalogs it. Like, what do you mean you catalog it?
In my brain. Like, I just remember
But we also have established, based on all the other shows that we've done, you have a horrible memory. And you only remember things by your truth. So whatever you think you saw becomes fact to you, although that may never have happened.
I also want to point something out, that you have half of Tim's 1 Millie Maker lineup in front of you.
Oh, Brooks, Kuchar, Beauregard?
Yeah.
Well, you can actually, if that's your core, those are your 3 guys, you got a lot of salary cap to play with.
Obviously, but I'm just saying that is half his line.
Well, the best part is Tim refuses. Shut up. Tim refuses to actually leave money on the table. So he uses every cent of his salary cap. So I hope he wins and splits it with 18 other people. That would be amazing.
I don't care.
So he said Tiger, so that's 4.
Tiger's
you have 4
of
his winning. You have 4 guys from his winning lineup.
And then I don't know. I'll find somebody like cheap but dependable way down the list.
Tiger thing, is that just like him trying to hex?
Yes.
If it does
it's
happen?
It's him trying to curse.
No, it's not. Listen, course history. The guy played, even when he wasn't playing great a few years ago, he competed here. When he came back off of his 8-month odyssey, he came back to the Masters and finished 4th. Like, even when he's not playing great, he plays well at Augusta.
I mean, if that's your case for Tiger Woods, if he's not playing great, he always plays well at Augusta. How can you say that Jordan Spieth has a 0% chance of ever winning another?
Because Jordan Spieth is permanently scarred at this course.
That's your fault, by the way.
Every time he gets on the tee at Golden Bell, he will think about having hit those shots in there and threw away a Masters. He threw away one 2 years before that, and he threw away that one. He put one in the water 12 last year. That is never, ever, ever, ever going to change. So that's just how it is.
This is what I'm talking about selective memory.
Well, he talks like it's a Disney movie, too.
I might try to get Singh in my lineup, too. The guy's playing good golf.
I actually don't...
As I went over on the Millionaire Maker show, you should be crossing off like 35 guys right away. You can win the Millionaire Maker theoretically, with Couples or Singh or one of those guys. But those guys have no shot at winning. So you're really killing the win expectancy of your lineup by rostering those guys, considering you have to have a winner in your lineup. You need first, second, and third if you're going to win. So if you waste a roster spot on a guy who's not going to win, that really does hurt the overall quality.
No, but if I'm
lineup.
stacking 2 or 3 guys, then I have to take somebody cheap, right?
I mean, you have Beauregard.
He's cheap.
He's
but
one
I
of the
mean,
cheapest,
like,
he's one of the cheapest guys in the field.
But if I take Woods and Koepka, and I probably stuff, I don't know, somebody like Watson in there too.
Yeah, you can't afford that roster, Tim.
This is it, right? Like this is my problem.
You can't. That's not possible.
That's his problem.
He's going to end up with like fucking Mike Weir in his lineup or something like that.
Well, if Uber rides are worth DK points, then I'm going to win.
Yeah, you'd be fine. You could play that weekend golf with Mike Weir if that was the case.
I can promise you I will see every shot of his on SportsCenter the next morning.
I mean, they might not even be tracking him at this year's Masters, so you might not be able to see it. He'll probably be a fixture of the Canadian weekend broadcast.
Brad? He was good, right?
Brad Frittich?
No, Hearn. Has it been Hearn?
It was Brad Frittich one year.
And Hearn looks like a completely different human. He looks way less like alien-like. When he's got his like glasses and hat on and that doinky putter, looks like an alien. But like he actually looks like, far more handsome and clean cut in those headaway on camera shots.
Oh, yeah. If you have Tiger, Brooks, Beauregard, Kuchar, and VJ, you would have $9,300 left. So you could afford Bubba in that lineup if you wanted to.
There you go. Okay, great. That is the initial start to the 1,000 tinkerings I do. But that would be a lineup, I think.
$1 million.
$1 million lineup right there from Tim. Tim's going to have a new career as a lineup seller, I think. And then he'll get banned from DraftKings.
Absolutely not.
Could I bet you don't come in like the top 3,000 in a single milli maker this year?
I bet you by the time we get to the British Open, I'll have had my skills so well tuned that.
So he's going to say, no, he doesn't want to bet you, is what he's saying. He'll just talk around it. And
is that even fair? 3,000? That's probably low, right?
Yeah, it's pretty outrageous. There's no way he's coming.
Yeah, I know. 3,000, like that's a pretty high.
If he finishes in the top half of the Millionaire Maker, I'll be stunned.
Well, I like some of his picks, so I don't want to.
Well, how well do you normally do?
Not very well. That's why I always try to make the lineups that like I would never make.
That's usually the good way to go about it. Anyway, Tim, anything before you get out of here?
Not a whole lot. Saturday to me is the most important round at the Masters, even though it's not the final round. Whoever plays the best on Saturday, I think is going to win.
I think the guy that plays the best for all 4 rounds is going to win.
But the guy who's usually there's a shot, we see it every year where there's a big shot at some point on Saturday, and that's like the decisive shot. The Spieth one, for example. Shot he made on 18 was unbelievable, and that's how he won the Masters. Saturday to me,
the fact that he was up by like 7 strokes didn't help him.
Like to me, I'd say like those Friday afternoons where we were doing a cut sweat, like Reed made like 2 chip-ins, probably won him the Masters.
Saturday is my favorite round of the Masters, more than Sunday.
So
I think Sunday's
Saturday probably going to be rained out now because it's very cursed from Tim. Probably not even going to happen on Saturday. Probably try to have to go double on Sunday. I don't know. Anyway, thank you for being on the line. We're going to get to our favorites and fill out our betting card next. So say goodbye to Tim Undercust.
Tim Andercurse.
Let's talk about the favorites. Really dig into it. The favorite at the very top of the Masters board, plus 650, 6.5 to 1. It is Mr. Rory McIlroy, coming off his players win in a match play loss to Tiger Woods. DJ 10 to 1. Tiger and Justin Rose 14. Justin Thomas, John Rahm, Jordan Spieth, Ricky Fowler, all 18 to 1. Francesco Molinari 22. Then you got Brooks, Bryson, Paul Casey, Tommy Fleetwood, all at 25 to 1. Those are your players that are below 30 to 1 at the 2019 Masters. I said it on the DraftKings show, and it's a bit different when you think about just picking someone to win for a pool or picking someone at a DraftKings price, because you have to pick one of the very top guys as it pertains to DraftKings pricing. It would make no sense not to, because there's so much win equity at the top. But of all of the top guys, Dustin is my favorite. He's 10 to 1. Where we're looking right now, I found him as short as 11 to 1 at some spots. I'm hoping we talk about drift, where he's kind of been out of the eye a little bit, where he didn't play at Valero, he didn't perform all that well at match play. Maybe people steam Rory, or Jordan Spieth ends up, getting even more momentum because a very high finish will bump his number from 18 to 14 very quickly. Depends on where a lot of the money comes in, but I really like Dustin at the top.
I'm with you. If I have to pick a player to win blindly, to me it is Dustin Johnson.
More than Rory?
More than Rory.
Because they both come in kind of doing the same thing.
Yeah, Dustin just hit far fewer 5-foot putts,
Yeah.
or he probably could have, come in with that Rory steam in that run before his infamous withdrawal a couple years ago. We're doing the betting show, so off the top, they're both hard numbers to swallow, but 657 is just untouchable.
Like that's,
It's
it's
not-
not your only bet if you're going to make it, but if you bet Rory at 7-1, let's say he drops 7-1, because people are just like, no, I don't want to bet that.
And
like your next bet is probably like 50-1 if you're going to do it.
What I would have to invest in it when listen, and I'm strongly considering just dropping a hammer on Dustin, and it's not much higher, but it would be an easier hammer to drop. The negative that I guess would also pertain to the Dustin bet is, swallowing Rory specifically, but either of these numbers, when so many guys are playing so well, just is really hard. But
okay, if we go through them, Rory at plus 650, you're not betting that.
I can't bet it.
Tiger at 14, not betting that.
I'm not betting it, but
No, the answer is no. You're not betting Tiger at 14
I'm not.
to 1.
No, I'm not. I'm certainly not betting
So let's
it.
continue.
I'm actually.
Can we continue? Rose 14-1, yes or no?
I believe he can. He's not my brand. No.
So no. Justin Thomas 18-1.
No.
Rahm 18-1.
Not at that number, but I'm waiting for like something because I'm a sucker.
Spieth 18. I was hoping it would get to 30 by playing poorly. That's not clearly going to happen.
Hard
so
pass.
I feel I would still rather bet Spieth than bet Ricky. 100%. I'm not betting Ricky. But Rahm is the very interesting one because people dislike Rahm so much that people aren't going to be lining up to go bet John Rahm. Put it that way. And he's performed very well here in 2 starts. He's been getting better each time that he's here. He has the complete game. If conditions remain sort of optimal, and that's kind of what we say with Rory, that he can be kind of the best guy in the field. Rahm is good in all facets of the game. He's super long off the tee. He's very comfortable here. You worry that he combusts at some point, but eventually the guy gets a bit older and maybe he channels that into some goodwill. I don't know. I think we'll see at least a 20 on John Rahm at some point.
I'm waiting for it. I'm hoping for even a 22. But that's a guy that I'm interested in. I wish his number, it bothers me that I can't get a Brooks type number, but we'll see.
It's funny, and Tim even pointed that out, that Brooks is 25 and Rahm is 18. Like, that doesn't seem to match
And like
up.
Ricky, you kind of get, because you can like sort of the books maybe are protecting themselves.
Ricky's in the same boat right now as Spieth and as Tiger. They're just overvalued because people like to bet on them. And that's not to say that none of those guys can win. It's just I don't think there's
But
any
of the
value
three,
on it.
would you argue Ricky's playing the best? But he's probably got the most pressure. He's
Yeah,
never won
Ricky's
it.
playing the best of those 3 guys. for
I
sure.
love Ricky. I bet him so many Masters. Last year, I would have won the moon. Oh, Patrick didn't relent one bit. I'll be so happy, but also like a little.
Well, last year, in terms of like how guys actually got there, it was Kisner led in putting, then Reed and Fowler were right behind him. Those 3 guys were leaps and bounds better on the greens than anyone else in the field. So if you're not going to gain, and that's how Ricky won Phoenix earlier this year too. He gained double-digit strokes putting. We know he can do it, so that's not out of the realm of possibility. It's a really hard thing to bank on, though, because the rest of his game doesn't look great right now.
His scrambling isn't where it has been the past couple years.
I feel
either.
like his driving's not where it has been. Like, even watching him at Valero, he was in the middle of the trees a lot. And that's not something you normally expect from him. And he scrambled his way out of it because his short game is so good. But if he's not going to be able to get up there and rip driver and rip it well, like, he has no chance. So it's just tough at 18. Like, I have more faith that Rahm would win, don't you?
Rahm at 22 is a 20. I think we're getting 20. I think it can get higher.
Potentially. It depends on the sentiment around Rahm. And if people start talking up Rahm as a guy who could potentially win, maybe it goes the other way. Maybe he just stays at 18. I don't know. It would seem difficult for me to believe the public would go to the window and bet John Rahm at 18-1 when you could get Brooks at 25, or hell, even some of the other guys,
Justin Thomas
or Fleetwood, who I just mentioned is going to be, he's right now he has the second most tickets on him at 25. It feels like he might drift too, but he might not. People love Tommy. People like to bet on Tommy.
Yeah, I had the 80 last year, Tommy. Hollered at him at the Honda, let him know.
So is there anyone else like Molinari? I think is super interesting here.
Molinari's incredibly interesting. I think before he won Bay Hill, or the night he won Bay Hill, that was still in like the mid 30s. And his form has just been outstanding. You mentioned what it's going to take here. 160 to 180 iron play. We've seen his putter get real going.
And-
This it doesn't bother me at all. It seems like he's not a sexy name, but the books are deeply respecting him.
As they should be. I mean, the win at Bay Hill is very interesting just from the perspective of those types of greens. And he was like, normally Molinari is not a very good putter. We know that. But these super fast greens, he seems to be putting well on. And Bay Hill is super fast. We know the Augustan, well, they don't use a stimp meter because they don't allow it at Augusta National. They are incredibly fast. It's like putting on glass. And if that's going to be the case for Molinari and he can get it going, we've seen guys be able to manage some of these greens year after year after year, even if they are crappy putters. Someone like Paul Casey, who just putts well at Augusta every single year. Bubba putts well at Augusta every single year. And with Molinari, even if you look at his course history, he's starting to get a little bit better. 50th when he played 5 years ago, 2 years ago, 33rd, 20th last year, has a T20 before that in his career. Like he's super sneaky here. And I don't think that, almost like Rahm, at least the American public isn't going to be like, you know who I think is going to win? Chesko.
Definitely sneaky. And you look at like his numbers last year, previous, he's just also a different guy. So the fact that he played well being that other guy is a encouraging sign.
Casey has to be the most overvalued guy here. I like Paul Casey. I wish he was like 40.
Yeah,
I would bet him at 40.
Yeah, I would too. The form, the course history, there's a trust factor there, sort of much like Hideki. Like, you have to sort of, in your gut of guts, trust his ability to do it when it's going to count, being chased by big players. But yes, Paul Casey's on a very short list of guys who I think can actually win. That being said, I'm not betting him. I don't have the stomach at that number to bet Paul Casey.
So right now we really have it down to, at least I have it down to Dustin, Rahm, and Molinari is the three that I would want to attack. Now, obviously, if I bet those three guys, those are the only three bets that I have, and I'm not going to do that. So I need to narrow it down to either one of Dustin or Rahm and Molinari. I think that's the way that I would
Bryson,
want to play this.
climbing to 30.
Yeah, I'm waiting for a break. Bryson will drop. 100% he's going to drop. People are just off Bryson right now. He's playing like absolute trash that we might even get a 35 number if no one is betting. We've seen one or two guys every single year, once the prices get readjusted, go from this range to like the 40 range. And I'm willing to get back in on Bryson. What do you think? Is 30 the number?
I would move probably on 30. I wouldn't.
I have no faith in that bet though, whatsoever. Like he is not playing well.
It's an outright bet. I make a lot of losers.
That's true. So you might as well go down with Bryson if you're going to go.
Yeah, I believe diligent. Like things haven't looked good, but maybe everything that the pendulum's been doing is about Augusta.
All right, let's get to this next level then. Jason Day kicks it off.
Interesting.
His best finish the past 5 years is just tied for 10th, which I kind of found surprising. He came third that year that Adam Scott won in the rain on Sunday. But he's 30-1. Bubba's 33. Hideki's 35. You're already in on that. Phil, Xander, Scott, Louis are all 40. The defending champ Patrick Reed is 45. So is Tony Finau. That's one I can see drifting as we go along. Leishman, Kuchar, Sergio, Stenson are all at 50. Cantlay, Kisner, 66. Poulter, Woodland, Cam Smith, Webb Simpson are all at 80. That is the range from 30 to 100 to 1. Those are all the guys. The one name that really sticks out to me, and I can't believe I'm saying this, and he might just be a better DraftKings play or a top 10 play, but I like Patrick Cantlay. And you can find him as deep as 80 to 1.
I'm waiting for the 80 because it's going to come on the Main Street books. This is like the one non-hammer I'm throwing. This will be my deepest bet probably because I'm not going much deeper.
Well,
I like that you're seeing it. His game works here.
His game works perfectly for here. As long as he can get it out of the sand at a reasonable rate.
It's been 66 to 1. He hasn't done anything. He didn't get out of his group at match play. He didn't he was horrible at the players. Give me that mainstream 80 or higher. I like Cantlay. People who've watched the show, I've sort of been nuggeting that around for a while. I haven't seen a moment to think that line's getting shorter than 66, so I've never felt an urge to run and bet it, and now I'm more than confident it climbs big. I'm also confident the majority of this range, maybe outside the first 3-4 guys you named, all take a bump higher.
What do we do with Bubba? Because Bubba's not playing poorly by any means. And 33 to 1 is a fine number. for Bubba Watson.
That's more than fine.
A 2-time champion here, killing it off the tee right now. One of the best players in the field. I mean, he's always one of the best players in the field off the tee. With this new grip and this putter, it's starting to work a little bit. He's not like in the first event of the year at Tournament of Champions, he lost like 13 strokes putting on the greens. Now he's like around field average. Well, you get him like slightly positive at a happy Bubba place again, he's definitely live.
And he was the master of the 3-putt avoidance,
which is big here.
It's enormous. Your ability to lag, your ability to hit your comebackers, as crucial as anything. Yeah, I'm not upset about this. I feel like a few weeks ago, was it the Players or something? You sort of rolled off some names. I like the Bubba bet a lot more than I like, say, a Spieth bet.
Well, yeah, you're getting over double the odds, so that's nice to have.
Yeah, but I would go to the hill on that.
Well, just think about the past few winners. So we had Reed at 55, I think it was. Sergio at either 40, 45, or 50, depending on when you got him. We got Willett deeper, but the time he went off, he was like 60 to 1, 55 to 1. So that's been sort of the range, you know what I mean? So of those guys, like Leishman, Kuchar, everyone's on Kuchar. I'm not betting Kuchar. I don't think he's going to win the Masters, but he definitely could. He's having the best year of his career. If there is a year for him to do it, probably here. People are like outside talking Louis is a sleeper. Adam Scott is someone people are high on. I'm kind of drawn to Stenson. Stenson's irons have been out of this world for a month, and he was so trash to begin the season over in the Middle East that people have kind of forgotten about him. No one is lining up to play Henrik Stenson. No one wants to bet Henrik Stenson. The off-the-tee work does worry me a little bit, but it's been getting progressively better as the weeks have gone along. And even when you look,
he's got to hit the driver.
When you, he does, and he can hit the driver. He's just better with a 3-wood in his hands. But any course where Justin Rose is an annual contender, Justin Rose and Henrik Stenson play well at the exact same courses. So there's no reason that Henrik Stenson can't. And his finish last year really surprised me. I was taken off guard. Like, normally he didn't have a great history. It was 40th, 18th, 14th, 19th, 21st, miscut. All of a sudden, he's 5th last year. Maybe he's just getting it together at Augusta at the right time. And he's old now, too. And the irons are there.
Sorry, I'm still smitten that you're, like, in on Cantlay, potentially. Stenson is, again, I think everybody in this range, you're going to get a better number. Outside of the one or two that
is Sergio really going down from 50? I don't know. I don't know if Stenson's going to go down from 50. That seems like a pretty locked in number to me. Maybe he gets to 55 or 60. Maybe. I'll wait and see because I don't think it's going down by any means. But I don't know if it's going to go up.
And Louis just seems to have this 40 to 1 at the Masters like every year. He's like locked into that number. And this year he's actually playing well.
He's chipping and putting well for sure.
Yes, he would have to maintain his insane around the green play, to sniff anything. You buying any of the Xander love? I know there's some big numbers, but at the number that's
the whole thing.
Like
I don't want to bet Xander at 40 to 1, but there were books offering him at 100 to 1, and I don't know if they're still offering that number.
I think I might have drawn. I think it's gone.
I didn't have access to that book, so I couldn't bet it. But I'm not going to begrudge anyone who bet Xander at 100 to 1. That's a good bet, considering he's going off at 40 or 35 to 1 everywhere else. Like that's. When we talk about lucking into the Willett number, the only reason we lucked into the Willett number because it was the wrong number, and that was the 100 to 1 is a wrong number on Xander.
Is there a number Finau could climb to?
I'm thinking about that
because I was looking at it over the weekend, and I'm like, if he crosses 50,
would it be weird to say we're going to put an outright bet on Finau considering the guy can't win?
Yes, of course. No, never wins. Wins a subfield, and now you're saying, like, go win the Masters, bro?
T10 last year in his debut.
But he's everything he does to me. You mentioned that he doesn't have the rounds here, but the less than good putters.
He's putting well this year.
He is. But I'm just saying the history of guys that aren't known for being putting savants in recent memory, bringing this home. His game really works here. The Valero was a weird... tricky thing for him. It was in many ways, some people would argue it was nice to see him battle and make the cut. And other people who are keen on him for the Masters would be like, I'd rather him just gotten on a plane on Friday and not played in cold and wet and just been, at this moment that we're talking in like his rental house for the week. But that's a guy I love Team No Putt. And it's it's a number that if once he crosses 50, which I think there's a good chance, as I mentioned, I think a lot of these guys go up. it's a number that we kind of been waiting for. You couldn't stand to stomach what you had to bet on him as his like hype was peak.
Yeah, 20-1 on Finau for the guy that can't win.
But if I had like a full card, Finau over 50 actually really could spark my interest.
Reed is a repeater, or is he just playing too poorly?
Not there.
Sergio to get it back. It's not like Sergio's playing poorly.
Playing very well. He lost to the guy that went to the finals.
It's
in the match
it's a
play.
good number too, 50-1.
Even before the match play where he played well, he was there was life that we were seeing it. The what he does well, he's been doing well.
Yeah, he's ball striking. Can't putt. We know that about Sergio. He couldn't, even the year that he won, he couldn't putt. Phil is the big kind of outlier here.
I'm surprised you're not like betting Phil flirting with a 50.
He's 40 right now. It's 40-1. How many years does Phil have of competitive play in him at the Masters?
But isn't this the place where guys compete?
They compete,
longer?
but they don't win. Like Jack is the oldest winner at 46. Phil's 49 now? Now, his 49 is probably in better shape and younger than Jack was at 47 based on like today's technology and just the upkeep of everything. But he already has a win this year. When we go back and look at like the history of people, you want people with like top 15 finishes, top 10 finishes on the year. He has a win and he has a second place. That he knows this place as well as anyone. He's actually not driving the ball horrible. Yeah, he played poorly through Florida, but it's Phil in Florida. Phil doesn't play great in Florida. I don't know. He's interesting. He's interesting at 40-1. Like Phil is a substantially better bet than Tiger is. Would you disagree or agree with that?
No. Because I think one guy can win this tournament. I'm more confident Tiger would win this tournament.
You think that Tiger has a 3 times more likely chance of winning this event than Phil does? That's outrageous.
Not 3, but
that's what the odds are asking us.
I'm not betting on Phil.
And you're not betting on Tiger.
I'm not betting on Tiger.
I think Phil is a more appetizing bet than Tiger is. And what we've seen from Phil is Phil's been good.
Yeah.
What have we really seen from Tiger this year?
Here's the thing with Tiger. I've kind of been blown away by people who are much smarter than me, very confident in how he's going to play at the Masters.
I hope he plays well.
And I'm not talking about Dr. Anderson.
Yeah, but I hope Tiger plays well. It's good for everyone if Tiger plays well. Plus, I love Tiger. I would love to see him win.
My main shtick with Tiger as it pertains this week is we have seen him play fantastic stretches of holes. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 holes in a row. We have seen it, whether that was at the match play or before. But what we haven't seen, Pat, is days. Like he has not strung days together this year. So that is my concern. He hasn't strung days together, and you look at how well everybody is playing, especially those guys at the top of the odds board. I've seen all those guys string days together this year.
Let's just look at the players so far. Me. Rory has a win this year. Dustin has a win this year. Rory won the Players. Dustin won WGC. Justin Rose won Torrey Pines. Thomas has been in the mix of a bunch of them. Yeah, no one's even talking about Justin Thomas. His approach stats have been on. He's been playing horrible for the past month. Spieth has been horrible. Ricky won in Phoenix. Molinari won Bay Hill. Brooks came second, and he's won 3 of the past 5 majors. Bryson has 5 wins.
Rahm had his players run.
And he won the Hero, and he has 5 wins the past 2 years. So does Bryson. Paul Casey won Valspar. Like all the guys that are up there have really come through. Tiger won the Tour Championship. That was the first time he really did put the 4 rounds together. I hope he does well. I hope it's looking great for him. I'm not playing on DraftKings. I'm not going to bet him. I'll just sit. I don't need financial investment to root for Tiger.
No, not at all.
But as we said on the preview show to this season, I think he is far more alive to win the PGA Championship, the British Open, and the US Open than he is as this player to win the Masters. Okay. I think those courses set up a lot better for him, and he would be one of the benefactors, like the Kevin Kisners of the world, or some of the shorter hitters, the Molinaris or the Stensons, that if the weather gets super crappy, then Tiger might have a bit of a better shot here. But if this tournament is won at 15 under, I don't know if Tiger can get there.
This is an important Masters because the winner gets to get a jacket from Patrick Reed. And that's a great picture. So I hope someone I love can win. So someone I love gets to hand the jacket to someone else I love. In a perfect dream scenario, Reed hands it to Tiger, Tiger hands it to Ricky.
Or Bryson. No, he hands it to Bryson.
I'm not talking
You've
about,
already picked him to win next year's Masters.
fine, but that's like, okay, fine. But I'm talking like extra selfish, like personal. The picture of like Tiger putting a green jacket on Ricky would maybe be my wallpaper.
I mean, we all know that he's going to put it on Siwoo Kim. Siwoo Kim will put it on Siwoo Kim. We'll give it to himself. That would be fantastic.
I'm trying to. Is Leishman sneak? He's come into these things before as a real sneaky.
Leishman's good at the Masters every single year.
Sneaky
Just I never bet Leishman.
I'm not I just can't. I don't know if there's still juice in that Kisner peach.
No, I'm not on Kisner here. Actually, I'm pretty. Unless the weather is shit, I'm anti Kisner.
Again, I've said the deepest I want to go here could be Cantley, and I think we're going to get an 80. If Woodland had any life at this course, he's a guy I'd like to bet just because I want to own Woodland stock.
I don't understand how he's been so bad at this course over the years. It makes no sense to me. He should be really good here.
Because he can keep it in play, doesn't have to putt great.
I think it's his short game really lets him down. He's not great around the greens. I have basically the deep shot Gary Woodland down the list.
You have someone?
I have someone down the list who is Gary Woodland-esque and is much better around the greens and has won more on tour than Gary Woodland. So I guess we should get to the long shots then, shouldn't we?
He's a long shot, or it's Cameron Smith?
It's not Cameron Smith.
I know who it might be.
Who do you think it is?
Snedeker?
No, I kind of like Snedeker.
Yeah, that's a Snedeker. I mean, I think I said this on every master show we've ever done. He did for a run here have some really nice course history. He had that Sunday lead. He says he'd give every penny, everything he's ever earned from the game of golf back to have that Sunday back.
Missed last year too.
Would he actually?
Probably.
Really?
Yeah,
he's probably won a lot of money. Hasn't won a FedEx Cup.
Yeah,
he would risk everything he's earned for one more.
Sneaky about Snedeker. I feel like he's one of the few guys on tour. Like I don't want to say came from nothing, but he wasn't a country club guy growing up. I feel like his parents owned like a pawn shop, and that's where he picked up clubs. That's why I always use.
That's why he still uses like the drivers with zero technology.
Yeah. That's why he takes like 2 seconds to hit every shot. He's the best guy on tour.
When Snedeker wins and they do those features, a lot of sites do them or blogs, like what's in the bag. I always marvel at like the like 2004 Cleveland Steamer driver. He's still like rocking. I didn't even realize what I did there.
So Snedeker, history at the Masters, did not qualify last year. Was not inside the top 50 in the world. He won Wyndham, so he's back in.
Didn't he go to like Asia to
try
to
get
in?
He
Like he went to Asian tour events
because he was coming off that rib injury. But 15th, 19th, 6th, 37th, miscut, 10th, 27th.
And that's not who you were talking about.
No,
because you mentioned someone around.
How does that remind? How does Brent Snedeker remind you of Gary Woodland?
No, you said he's just a much better around the green. You're right. They don't remind me of each other. Are you going to say Keegan?
I'm not going to say Keegan. Keegan also real garbage around the greens.
Charles Howell III.
I do. I'll talk about Charles Howell III here in a
each
second.
Like a top 10 for Charles because you're finally getting
real numbers with him. Augusta National,
like
but that's not the guy.
You'd always be like, oh, Charles is fit. Like you think like he's never gonna win, but his number's so low, that's bullshit. And you'd always be like, yeah, because they're trying to like prevent your top 5, your top 10 like juice numbers. Well, at 125 to 1,
you can get deeper numbers on all these guys. The site that we're using right now actually has a lot of these long shots juiced.
It's not killer, is it?
It's not killer. Killer's a first timer. He's a debutant at the Masters. He is 200 to 1.
Woodland-esque,
but better around the greens, more PGA Tour wins. And what did I say that the two corollary courses that if I was going to look at them, they would be
Riviera and Quail.
And what player has won both those events and has a top 5 finish in the Masters in one of the past 2 years? Is on our sheet at 125 to 1. I've seen him as low as 175 to 1, which that's the number.
Wow.
I met him at.
Okay.
JB Holmes. Put it this way.
Plug your nose,
this can
but
go
sure.
so disastrously the other way, but I'm betting the guy to win. And if good JB shows up, the guy who can putt, when he putts well, it's not like he gains a stroke on the field. He either loses 6 strokes in the field, like he did at Valero when he MDF, so that's going to keep everyone off of him, or JB comes in just fire on the greens. And his short game is always going to be there. He's very good around the greens. If you can get that hot putter, isn't he exactly the type of skill set that we just talked about that can win the Masters?
The mention of his name has flared up heartburn. But yeah, listen, the corollary thing is almost enough for me to maybe get in, because not much across 100 to 1 really does anything for me. And maybe it's easy to say every year about this freaking tournament.
Honest to God, these guys aren't winning. Probably not. They have a very minuscule chance of winning this event. But I mean, I'm going to get my each way, and that's why I'm waiting until Monday to get so I get the extended each ways.
In our life, has anyone even not our life, but I mean, when's the last time someone under 20-1 cashed the Masters?
Like a favorite? Spieth when he won, I guess. I think he was like 18-1.
He would really? I think
so.
He was higher.
No, I don't think so because he had just won.
Maybe the second Bubba win.
Maybe. No, Spieth would have been under 20-1 because he had just won Valspar and he was having a great year.
Valspar was it even
before?
Oh.
He beat Patrick Reed and Sean O'Haire in the playoff that year, and he came in hot. Adam Scott.
Remember all those? Yeah, because I think he was like 18, and me and you were like, "Screw Spieth at 18. You bet Patrick Reed at 100, bro."
We were just a bit late on that. We should have stuck with that advice.
Yeah.
Instead of I bet Spieth last year and not Patrick Reed that time.
The Augusta State, Georgia boy.
But I think Holmes is going to be a flyer to me. I bet Siwoo Kim every single week, no matter when it is. So I was happy to get him at 150 here. He'll be beat down a little bit. He'll be somewhat of a popular sleeper this year. I'm out on all the first timers, like as outright bets. Like Tim picked Lucas Beauregard.
I don't care.
I don't think this is a good course for Beauregard either. Like I like him. Like where has he played well? Since he's come over, he played well at Honda, which is a very short course. He played well at Match Play, which is a very short course. I think he just plays well at shorter courses.
Sure.
And he's a
catches fire with his.
And we just saw it in Valero. That's a longer course, and when you have to put driver in his hand and he has to bomb it off every single tee, he can do a lot of trouble. And if off the tee is really going to matter here, and he's not one of the longest hitters, that's problematic. Like, that's why I like Charles Howell. He's 125 that I'm looking at, but you can find him as deep as 150. I don't hate that as a each way, as an outright, as a top 10, top 20, whatever that may be. And the only other one really is Haotong. Haotong performed very admirably as a debutant last season, finished inside the top 35.
He had the pressure last year of winning the corollary
Dubai event.
That's Sergio and Willett.
Year? Was it Bryson? Did Bryson win Dubai?
Yeah.
Bryson.
Or did Dustin?
No, Dustin won Saudi Arabia. Didn't he?
Oh, yeah.
Bryson. But anyway, Haotong is good. Haotong is long off the tee. Haotong scores on par fives. He's 125-1. Again, he's another guy that will just be pushed down that list, 160, 175-1. And realistically, if you have one of these guys in contention on a Sunday, it's just really nice hedge equity to get yourself, to be perfectly honest with you. Because if you have a head-to-head of like Lee versus Rory coming down the stretch, or JB Holmes and Rory coming down the stretch, something we've already seen this year at Riviera, they could outduel them, and that would be great. But you get them with a one-shot lead, and you really want to get out of your money, put half of it on the other guy at close to even money, and you have a much better win than you would have had betting Rory at plus 650 to begin with.
For a guy that's 175-1, I'm not betting him, but one of my most anticipated kits I'm looking to find is
Affy Barnrat?
Is Kiradech, which is with his own logo. Tiger's kit, very plain. Nothing like out there or special about Tiger's kit. It's very mundane. The Adidas kits, I haven't really been impressed with anything I've seen, to be perfectly honest. But I still haven't seen Fowler's. I'm wearing my orange 2-unders right now.
Oh, nice. Mitchell and Aaron Wise both rate out really well, but they're a first timer, so they did not make the cut for me.
For the purposes of this show, I got nothing for anyone at the back.
No, like flyer top 20. Like I said, Charlie Hoffman, first round leader. I'll have my whole collection of first round leaders. I wanted to jump on that one.
VJ might not be horrible this week.
I agree.
Those guys,
I agree. VJ
I'm not
might
looking
not be
to bet.
horrible.
I'm not like saying even a top 5.
Bet him in a 3-ball day one. Bet him his first round
Or if
leader.
you're in like those box pools and he's like in that like box with some of the elder
Weir and the
statesmen,
amateurs,
or like
and those
even
guys.
couple, like I would take
VJ's having a good year.
I would take VJ there, and he can still whip that ball out there. I mean, he's gonna miss 4-footers, but that's everybody. Whew.
Yeah, that's the field,
Stenson
man.
at 50, eh? Do
Yeah.
you think that could get high? He just seems like a lost soul.
I really like him on DraftKings. And I like that 50 number. I'll see where that goes. And we're going to finalize our betting card. We blow our load so quickly on this every single year that it's nice to be able to sit back.
Oh, I'm like...
Stay in the breach, make a bet or two here, bet or two there.
It is.
Like, even talking this through with you right now, I don't feel like I'm anywhere... I haven't cut down to like the 10 guys in my pool. And now I need to trim that some more. Because the Dustin decision is a big decision.
I literally... like to a personal, my own personal like Patreon. That's a joke, but like my inner like circle of friends. I've kind of like did exactly what, we did off the top here. Like not betting Rory, Bros isn't my brand, not betting Spieth. Like I like it's by process of elimination, I'm left with deciding almost between Dustin, Rahm, Bryson, Brooks, and I can't lie, Pat. I cannot discount the fact that I still might bet money on Ricky.
I like that. I like that it gives you a Bubba Ray Dudley stuttering problem every time.
No, because I don't want
to. Don't
last year I felt it from like my core that it was the time. This year I'm not really.
And it took an outrageous Sunday for him to get back into it.
No, it took a ridiculous, consistent. I've said it too many times. My whole life, 90% of the time, what he did would have been good enough. The guy in Reed's spot falls back. Reed didn't fall back for a moment. And then he didn't like on 18, like Reed hit the flag stick, which like probably saved him like 10 feet on like something. On like what would have been that huge putt. It all kind of
blends together. I only remember Spieth's drive on 18 where he put it like 80 yards off the tee. He had to get
Spieth on Sunday last year.
He had to get his dick out.
Wow, scared the shit out of me.
He should have. I had the Spieth money. I was like, here we go. I was able to cash out my money.
That's crazy. You like bet it live at like a silly number and people are able to cash it out. And Molinari, I'm not able to cross off either. It's a number because he's just not sexy. That like is kind of hard to swallow, but it makes his game is just, he doesn't lose in the moment. No, unless he hits a 20-footer 9 feet past, then Kisner gets to go to the match play final.
So let's give our picks. Here's what we got going on. Not really. You just listed like 10.
I know. I listed 5 guys inside 25-1. Sorry.
So here's what I'm doing for my card right now. Actual bets I have placed so far. Charlie Hoffman, first round leader, 100-1. If you followed me on Twitter, you would have got it yesterday. When I jumped on it, is now 50-1. That number is no longer available, unfortunately.
Still great value because he's one of like 6 guys that'll do it.
I have Siwoo Kim, 150-1. Ian Poulter, 80-1. I feel bad. Like that's wasted Poulter money, it feels like. But if he wins, I'm not going to complain about reaping the rewards of it. At the top, I'm between Dustin and 2 bets, one on Molinari, one on Rahm, and I'm waiting for Bryson to fall. So I think that Bryson will most definitely end up on my card. After that, I'm thinking about Phil, but not seriously. Thinking about Hideki like you have, but not seriously. I like Stenson. I'm going to be in on Cantlay. I'm waiting for a better number. Finau, I could potentially be talked into, but I need a better number. He's not there yet. But Cantlay for sure. And I'll be in on JB Holmes, Charles Howell III, as long shots. I like those 2 guys as long shots. What do you think?
Okay. I'm in on Hideki at 40. I will be in on Patrick Cantlay. I'm anticipating an 80. I think it'll be a widely put out there 80. He hasn't done anything lately to deserve that anything lower than that. I'm with Dustin, Rahm, Bryson, and I guess it's kind of just Dustin and Bryson and Hideki and Cantlay, or it's something like Rahm, Bryson, Hideki, and then maybe even something else.
Well, the way to think about it from a value perspective when you're making,
but part of me really.
Please let me finish.
Sorry, there's the hammer in my pocket.
I just would like to finish my train of thought. Thank you. Dustin at 10-1. Is 1 bet. So if you have Rahm and he falls to, let's say, 20 and you have Molinari, the way you need to think about it is that the money you'll have to invest for Dustin Johnson at 10-1 equals a bet on Molinari and Rahm. That's the way that I feel like people don't think that through when they're making their cards. But 10-1, you have 2 guys that are 20-1. It's the same investment. So you bet on those 2 guys or you bet on one, and the decision comes down to, do you think that those 2 guys have better odds of winning than Dustin does? That's the way that you would have to stack it up. And I'm leaning, they might. I'm going to pick Dustin.
My problem is, and I've alluded to this before, and I actually like that this is a fresh, I've said it a few times, you've said it too, like there's some fresh life in this for me this year because I'm not beholden to bets I made in like January, and have all my investment in there. But it's still the Masters, and where I don't have the certain discipline that is probably required, it's sort of like sometimes when I get to these like the premier event, it's like Dustin is on my mind here, Pat. and I love the guy. And it's like, if the Chargers were in a huge game, I'm not like, it's either the Chargers or I'm not like betting it no, it's either the Chargers or the Chargers. Cause I don't know, it's the Masters, and I kind of like, I don't know, I'm selfishly just wanting to cheer for my favorite players to win the biggest tournaments that, you know, it's so hard to change the trajectory of Dustin Johnson, what you will think about Dustin Johnson's career. I guess still an underachiever, but winning this tournament would change everything. Much the same as other guys I love, like Ricky Fowler.
Or Reed.
It will
think about how it
change
changed what Reed's entire career is going to be.
Changes.
Think about how it changed the narrative.
Even, I know it sounds like so silly. Like literally there are 4 events on the planet that Matt Kuchar can win, or like a Brandt Snedeker can win, that will change the future perception of Brandt Snedeker. He could win 5 more Wyndhams, Heritage, like blah, blah, blah. You will not think an inch different of Brandt Snedeker in like 25 years when you see his name or he's brought up or the day he passes.
Well, there's a lot of cachet.
Hopefully much farther than 25 years. But
there's a lot of cachet built into it too, because you never escape people's minds. Like, would we ever remember Ian Woosnam? No, but he's in this stupid tournament every year. Like, he never escapes.
No, obviously, and this one is more special than others, but
that's the special part of it, is that you stick around for the next 40 years if you win it. You stay in the public consciousness of people who follow this. The 2 that I want to throw out here, Haotong I mentioned before, and Griot is at 150. I don't know if I'm betting them outright, but I would be looking for like different props with them in it. I think that they both rate out really well.
Oh, also some guy I can't deny. Like I'm eyeing a Finau number.
Yeah, I'm probably not going to get there on Finau. Like, if Finau gets to the same numbers, like Sergio's already a better number, I think I just feel more comfortable betting Sergio. And I'm not even really looking at Sergio. I think I've talked myself off of Finau. But I will release my full betting card. And
Day sneaking to a 35 wouldn't move you? Sorry. I mean, ask that all show.
When we were talking about the guys, you didn't bring it up then?
Well, like, could that one move?
Yeah, that could
for
move.
You?
I mean, I'm not going to bet Jason Day to win.
He went 40 at the...
Do you want to bet him to win?
No, but if he goes to like his player's number, it might like feel different.
Well, I mean, if everyone gets to 40 to 1, we can just bet everyone in the field and we'll be fine.
I'm expecting a lot of positive drift.
Now I completely forgot what I was saying. You've ruined the end of the show.
I have, and you probably left a great nugget out, and that's my fault.
You can check out my full betting cheat sheet up on my Facebook page, facebook.com/thepme. On Wednesday, I will talk about it in my live chat that I'm doing with Reed Fowler, 1 p.m. Eastern time on the DraftKings YouTube channel, my Twitter account, and on my Facebook page. Now you're looking at something on my sheet. What are you looking at?
I don't want to direct.
You're leaning over while I'm talking and looking at my sheet. What are you looking at?
We still have nothing. You know, I didn't mean for this to go off the rails. I'm just thinking about my one and done and wanted to see if you had yours written down.
No, we're going to get to that in a second. Good God, man.
I'm antsy. I'm sorry.
I get
Maybe the Red Bull kicked in an hour later. I don't know.
Just calmez-vous. We still got days to go here.
I know.
We need you for the Cut Sweat show, which is coming up on Friday, probably around, I want to say, like 3:30 Eastern time, 4:30 Eastern time. If you follow Jeff or I on Twitter, we'll tweet that out to make sure that you can come tune in and watch me lose a bunch of money again when I release. I'm going to be doing to make the cut parlay again, which is lost by one person 3 consecutive years.
And the books still haven't really caught, like, it's still the same numbers that you get for events with like
all the other one. It
guys.
Is actually, I might actually play it as a round robin this year. Play like a 14 person to make the cut parlay. So I can be bailed out if one person misses. This would be either 2 people miss the cut or no one misses the cut. But either way, the odds that they give you to make the cut at the Masters, where it's top 50 in ties, and realistically, like 40 guys in this field have no fucking chance. And like 10 of them have no chance of making the cut. So let's just say 70 guys have a chance to make the cut. There's always going to be a bomb and an outlier that happen. But they're still giving you the same odds that these guys would have at the US Open to make it. And it's just so much easier to make the cut. Top 50 make the cut, and anyone within 10 strokes of the leader make the cut. And let's say someone's not running away with it. Then all of a sudden, like 60 guys make the cut. It's one of the better bets. If parlay bets are losing bets, as evidenced by the fact that I just mentioned, I've lost this 3 consecutive years. But I do think that there is value in that bet for the potential reward and payoff that you can get, because like you parlay like 13, 14 of these guys together. And I'm not saying Rory and Dustin and those guys. It's the middle guys. It's like take like Phil and Scott and Louis and Finau and Leishman and those type of guys. They're all like -1, -225, -175.
Forgetting the skill of an individual player. Just, the body per body in the field, what is their blind math chance to make the cut? Forgetting
if everyone was the same?
Well, including taking out like the 15, 22 guys that are like dead weight.
But we know.
But I'm saying like
we know-
Louis is the same skill as Dustin. Like
Sure,
what are
but
their,
like one or two seniors, 2 or 3 seniors are going to make it. 1 or 2 amateurs are going to make it, and the rest of them are going to miss the cut. So let's just take it by its head. There's 86 players in the field, right?
Yeah.
So 86 players in the field. At minimum, 50 will make the cut. And now I've just done the math very poorly on this. No, I did it the wrong way. 50 into 86. So 58% of the field at minimum is going to make the cut. Probably a bit more than that. Then if we start taking, let's take out just like, do you think Takuma Kanata is going to make the cut or
No, Jovan?
Jobin?
No, I don't.
There's a guy with a really awesome name. I can't find him. The guy with
Devin Bling?
Devin Bling. Devon Bling. It's probably Devin Bling, but I'll call him Devon Bling. Probably not going to make the
Papa
cut.
Shugo?
So you have a bunch of like Imaharas in this one as well, and so is Kadaira, like those guys. So let's take 16 of them out. Let's just say realistically 70 people have a chance to make the cut, and minimum of 50 are going to make it. Now at least 71% of the people make the cut. And let's say we get a chance where like 55 people make the cut or 56 people make the cut. Say 55 people make it. Now all of a sudden we're dealing with almost an 80% chance that people make the cut. Like it's well worth the investment, even playing different combinations of it if you do. I think it's one of the better bets at any major all year.
And the US Open, like just blindly picking another major, that's what, like a 51% probably?
It's less than
Like,
half the people make the
so
cut.
then,
It's
yeah.
top 60 in ties, and there's 156 players in the field.
Done. Yeah, we
talk about it
we
every
talk
year.
about this. You don't just talk about this bet every year. We talk about this bet all year as something you're like looking forward to.
Yeah,
and you're not the only one. People are clamoring for them to post that sort of stuff.
It's also super fun too because it's a low investment. Like even if you bet $10 on it, parlay 14 guys together, it'll pay like $2,000.
Just hope you don't have like Ernie Els on the first
hole.
hole.
Yeah,
And your bet is
it happened to me. I think it was Shane Lowry who did me in 2 years ago. He's -1 after 2 days and shot +10 on Friday, and he was the guy who missed it. I thought he was safe for days, but I think that's a really fun one to do, and it just gives you if you're not going to bet a whole bunch at the top or do whatever, it does give you an interest in a whole bunch of guys just to make the viewing experience a whole lot better as well. So I think that there's a lot of fun with that. Couldn't help yourself to check the live golf scores, could you? Couldn't do it. Could not do it. One and done picks for the Masters. I get to pick first because Jason Kokrak came through for me at Valero as the best pick, and I will be picking Dustin Johnson as my one and done. Tim is picking Brooks Koepka as his one and done. Who will you be selecting as your one and done for the Masters?
I'd like to pick Dustin Johnson.
Can't. I did. Pick JB Holmes. Pick Patrick Cantlay. You're big on Cantlay.
Stop bullying me.
Well, you got to make a pick eventually. The show can't be 5 hours long.
I know. For the purposes of everybody, I would pick Dustin Johnson. I can't do that though. I might have used Bryson. That's what I'm worried about.
You probably have.
I probably think I've used.
You don't
Rom.
think about this for a second.
Well, I
before you
wanted
come
to
in.
use Dustin.
You knew I was using Dustin.
Okay, you did it. You suckered me.
JB Holmes?
No, Patrick Cantlay.
JB Holmes. JB Holmes it is.
Whatever.
Have you not used Patrick Cantlay yet?
No,
Are you sure? Sure you didn't use him at Riviera?
no. I think I used Finau.
I thought you'd use like John Rahm or something like that.
I've used Rom,
You've used a lot of the big guns already.
but not like the biggest guns.
If you want to get into a draw for not only 20 DK bucks, but 150 times 2 DK bucks for 550 DK bucks, all you need to do is smash the like button for this episode. Leave your DraftKings handle in the comments section. Tell me which of the top 20 or top 15 players in terms of odds you think are actually going to miss the cut or perform very poorly at the 2019 Masters. Other ways to get into that draw. Go to Instagram. Follow me at the PME. Like one of the Masters videos or pictures that are up there. DraftKings handle in the comment section. Boom, you're into that. Twitter, Facebook. Share that shit around. Retweet it out. Tell people to watch the Pat Mayo Experience, this show, and all the other shows. Anything that you see come up. What are you shaking your head about?
How bad my one and done's been.
I'm trying to do the extra here, man. It's very distracting.
Oh,
You're sitting here doing like this.
Are you kidding me?
I'm trying. You do the extra then. Please.
I'm not going like that.
Please do the extra.
I thought
well,
I
I'm
was
sitting
just
here, just
sitting
trying to do
there
it.
calmly.
I'll sit here stone faced while you do the extra, and not even try to distract you. You can't put down your phone for 2 seconds.
I wanted to make sure I didn't screw up our game.
You've screwed it up like 3 times already this year. We'll just change it after the fact.
One time.
Where was I? Do you remember that?
You were in the outro.
But where in the outro? Where was I at?
I had checked out.
I know, and it was very distracting. Anyway, I remember because I am a professional because I remember things, not how I conduct myself on this show. But if you share the show around Facebook or Twitter, you give a share, reply with your DraftKings handle as a comment, all those things together, and you are in a draw for all that DraftKings giveaway money. Play in the Pat Mayo Experience DraftKings Open. $10 to enter, 3 max. The link is in the description and comment section of the... You're going back on your phone again. You can't just sit there for a minute. Be zen. Sit there like that. Thank you. If you want to get into a draw for a free membership to fantasynational.com for the year, follow Fantasy National on Twitter. Retweet the pin tweet that is up there now and reply with the hashtag FNMasters. All winners will be announced on Tuesday morning show that I am doing with The Gup, with Colin Drew from dailyroto.com. We'll be going over the entire DraftKings field, once again, re-upping on picks, talking about ownership, and getting everyone ready for the weather and leverage plays that you can have for constructing your lineups to be in the running. That, although Tim's going to win the $1 million, as he's already said, so the competition for second is on for the Millionaire Maker. He's playing that one lineup, and that one lineup cannot lose. I think that's what he said, at least. I think so. Follow Jeff on Twitter at GFienberg17. Follow me at ThePME, Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. And the last way to get in that draw for all that big money, audio reviews, ratings reviews. I deal in that. That's my currency. That's what I need to spread the wealth of the show. iTunes, Stitcher, Spotify, 5-star review, DraftKings handle, something nice about the show, and you too will be in that draw for the top prize of $550, that ticket for the Masters. Thank you all for watching. We got more Masters show coming Tuesday, Wednesday, and Friday. We'll be live Wednesday and Friday as well, so please be there for that. Continue to share around the shows. Thank you for all the support that you've shown this week, and hopefully we can get ourselves a winner, all right? I'm Pat Mayo. Good luck with the 2019 Masters. I'll see you next time.
Pat Mayo Experience! Experience!